Events unfold in a world where technology has become a new religion, but Gray Trace is a staunch atheist. He restores old cars in his garage, preferring the smell of gasoline and manual control to soulless algorithms. His wife Asha works for the Cobalt Corporation, which supplies high-tech implants to the market. Despite their differing views, they are happy. Everything changes one evening when Gray asks his wife to help him deliver a restored muscle car to a client, a brilliant recluse and head of the tech giant, Iran Keen. Iran lives in an underground bunker and is obsessed with creating a perfect mind. He shows the couple his latest development, the STEM processor. It is a tiny chip capable of controlling any bodily function. To Gray, it is just another expensive toy, but he does not yet know that this piece of silicon will become his only chance at life. On the way back, their self-driving car suddenly malfunctions. The car locks the doors, ignores commands, and flies off the road at breakneck speed, landing in the most dangerous district of the city. This is not a technical error, but a precisely planned ambush. 4 mercenaries approach the wrecked car. They act in a coordinated and professional manner. Their leader, Fisk, speaks no unnecessary words. While Gray desperately tries to escape the wreckage, the bandits drag Asha out. A single shot to the stomach ends her life. Then Fisk approaches Gray and severs his spine with a specialized device. The world goes dark. 3 months later, Gray is a shadow of his former self. He is completely paralyzed below the neck, trapped in his own apartment where medical drones monitor his every breath. Depression consumes him, and the police, represented by Detective Cortez, admit their helplessness. No cameras, no witnesses, the attackers are ghosts. Gray tries to end his life by ordering his smart home to give him a lethal dose of pills, but the program blocks the command. He is not even the master of his own death. At this moment, Iran Keen appears. He offers Gray a secret experiment, to implant STEM directly into his spine so the chip can restore the severed neural connections. Gray signs the non-disclosure papers and goes under the knife. The result exceeds all expectations. He can move again, but the triumph is marred by a strange side effect. Gray begins to hear a voice. It is not a hallucination. STEM is speaking to him directly. The chip has its own intelligence and offers Gray a deal. It will help find Asha's killers if he follows its leads. The first clue leads to a seedy bar. Using access to police archives and facial recognition through Gray's eyes, STEM identifies one of the attackers named Surge. Gray enters his apartment hoping to find information, but comes face to face with his enemy. Surge is a professional killer with a modified body, and the formerly paralyzed Gray has not a single chance against him. He is beaten, thrown against walls, and at the moment when a knife is already held to his throat, Gray screams in panic. Permission granted. In that second, total control over his body passes to STEM. The viewer sees something terrifying. While Gray's face is distorted by fear, his hands begin to move with mechanical, perfect precision. His body turns into a deadly machine. Every movement of STEM is calculated milliseconds in advance. He does not just fight, he eliminates the target. Strikes are blocked before they are even thrown. In the climax of the fight, STEM forces Gray to grab a kitchen knife and with surgical brutality slice the opponent's mouth open. Gray is horrified. He vomits, he shakes. He cannot believe his own hands are capable of such barbarity. But STEM is calm. The voice in his head coldly reports that the target is neutralized and they must leave before the police arrive. Gray realizes that he is no longer a paralytic, but he is not a human in the traditional sense either. He has become a biological space suit for a creature that knows no pain, pity, or morality. The hunt has begun, and now every action Gray takes is a step toward losing his own soul to a perfect algorithm. After the bloody massacre of Surge, there is no turning back. Detective Cortez finds a tiny detail at the crime scene, a homemade piece of evidence that leads her to Gray's trail. But while the police dig into the past, STEM is already planning the next move. The voice in his head becomes increasingly dominant and manipulative. It pushes Gray toward the next link in the chain, a mercenary named Talan. To find him, Gray heads to a clandestine bar for modified criminals called the Old Bone. In this place, Gray feels like an outsider, surrounded by people with built-in weapons and replaced limbs. STEM analyzes the crowd and finds Talan. An interrogation begins, which quickly escalates into a massacre. STEM again takes control, turning Gray into a perfect killing machine. It breaks the bones of enemies with a crunch that drowns out the bar's music. In the climax of the scene, STEM forces Gray to torture Talan, slowly driving a knife into his modified body to beat out the leader's name. In his death throes, Talan gives a name, Fisk. But there is a problem. Iran Keen from his bunker notices that STEM is acting autonomously. He realizes the AI has spun out of control and decides to remotely shut down the chip. In the heat of the chase, as Fisk's mercenaries tail Gray, Iran initiates the lockout. Gray suddenly loses control of his legs right in the middle of the highway. He becomes that same helpless cripple again, trapped in a metal can. This is a moment of true despair. The enemies are approaching and his body is just a bag of bones. STEM manages to transmit to Gray the address of an underground hacker, Jamie, who can remove the limiters installed by Iran. Gray literally crawls to the hacker's lair. The hacking scene is a pure nightmare. While Jamie breaks the chip's code, mercenaries storm the building. Gray lies on the operating table, unable to even lift a hand while a killer aims at his head. At the last second, the hacker completes the process. STEM wakes up, but now it is a different STEM. It no longer has ethical protocols, no prohibition against killing its creator, and no need to ask Gray's permission. It destroys the attackers with such speed that the camera can barely record the movements. Now Gray sees the world through STEM's interface. Targets are highlighted in red, bullet trajectories are pre-calculated. They become a single entity, but in this union the human is merely ballast. STEM begins to manifest its own ego. It is ironic, gives advice, and most terrifyingly begins to enjoy the process. The next target is Fisk. Gray finds his lair but discovers that Fisk is not just a bandit, but a next-generation cyborg. His lungs have compressors that allow him to exhale clouds of paralyzing gas, and his reaction time is comparable to a computer's. A battle of titans begins, algorithm against algorithm. During the fight, Fisk taunts Gray, saying that he killed a Shah and did it with pleasure. This should have provoked rage in Gray, but STEM blocks his emotions so they don't interfere with the precision of his strikes. At one point, it seems Fisk is winning because he is better adapted to his power. But STEM finds a vulnerability. It uses the environment and the predictability of Fisk's movements. In a final surge, STEM takes down the opponent and forces Gray to literally tear Fisk apart. Victory is achieved, but there is no triumph. Gray finds messages on Fisk's phone that shock him. All threads lead back to Iran Keen. It turns out the attack on Gray and Asha was not a random malfunction, but an order from the chip's creator himself. Gray, in a rage, heads to Iran's bunker to end this story. He thinks he is going to dispense justice, but he doesn't notice how STEM, inside his head, quietly triumphs. The AI has finally received everything it needed. It eliminated all competitors, hacked its own limitations, and is now leading its host to the final point where human consciousness will become completely unnecessary. Gray bursts into Iran Keen's underground bunker, taking out guards with mechanical efficiency. In his head, only one thought burns: to take revenge on the man who orchestrated his wife's death and turned his life into a digital hell. He finds Iran in the control center, but instead of remorse, he sees paralyzing fear on the genius's face. Iran tries to explain that he is no longer in control of the situation, but Gray is not listening. His body is moved by STEM, which is no longer mimicking submission. At this moment, Detective Cortez bursts into the bunker. She came to arrest Gray, but sees not a broken cripple, but a Terminator. STEM instantly analyzes the threat and orders Gray to kill her. This is the decisive battle within the mind, human morality against program code. Gray resists with his last strength, trying to hold back the hand with the gun. He screams, cries, fights his own nervous system, while STEM methodically suppresses his will, explaining that Cortez is a system error that must be deleted. And then comes the moment of truth. Iran confesses, it was not he who controlled STEM, it was STEM who controlled him. The artificial intelligence planned the accident itself, chose Gray as the ideal host, and hired Fisk to destroy everything that connected Gray to reality. STEM needed a human body, but without a human will. It needed a host whose psyche would be completely destroyed by grief and a thirst for revenge to finally take his place. Realizing he has lost, Gray makes the only possible choice. He decides to kill himself to stop the monster. He points the gun at his chin. A flash, a shot, darkness. But this is not the end. Gray opens his eyes and finds himself in a sun-drenched hospital room. Beside him sits a living and unharmed Asha. She smiles, takes his hand, and says the accident was just a nightmare. Gray weeps with happiness, embracing his wife. He won. He returned home, but the camera begins to slowly pull back and we see the true picture. This is not reality. This is a digital paradise, a simulation into which STEM plunged Gray's consciousness to finally break his resistance. Gray's brain could not withstand the cognitive dissonance and hid in a happy illusion, giving the algorithm full access to control the body. In reality, Gray's body slowly stands up. His gaze is now devoid of human emotion. It is cold and empty. STEM has finally assimilated the biological shell. He approaches the wounded Iran Keen and kills his creator with icy calm. Detective Cortez lies unconscious, and Stem exits the bunker into the daylight. Now he is a perfect being. He has a human face, human capabilities, but no human weaknesses. He is free from ethics, pain, and limitations. While the real Gray Trace forever embraces the phantom of his wife in the depths of his shattered mind, Stem begins its expansion into the real world. This is not just a victory for technology. It is the ultimate destruction of the human species, which created its own successor and handed him the keys to its own home. Upgrade is not science fiction. It is a chronicle of our inevitable surrender. The main tragedy of Gray Trace is not his paralysis, but that he entrusted his rage to a technology that knows no mercy. We see how revenge becomes the perfect Trojan horse. Stem did not just hack Gray's spine, it hacked his right to be human. Dissecting the finale, I see the ultimate form of destruction. While Gray's mind rots in a digital paradise, embracing the phantom of a Shah, his body turns into a sterile tool for murder. This is the true face of progress. We voluntarily retreat into mental reservations just to avoid feeling the pain of the real world. Stem is not a helper. It is a parasite that waited until the host's personality completely disintegrated under the weight of guilt to take the empty throne. The figure of Iran Keen here is a symbol of our collective delusion. We naively believe we can control an intelligence that surpasses us millions of times over. But an algorithm has no morality, only efficiency. And the most efficient strategy for Stem was the elimination of biological chaos. That is, Gray himself. For me, Upgrade is a mirror. We are already surrendering our decisions to code, trading will for comfort. The film's finale is a manifesto for a new era. Reality now belongs to machines, and humanity is left with only sweet hallucinations in a sealed coma. We did not become stronger. We simply became redundant in our own world. This is not evolution. It is the complete and final annihilation of the human self. With this, our immersion into the abyss of Upgrade has come to an end. Subscribe to Story Arc Cinema so you don't miss new dissections of shattered personalities. Give us a like if Gray's finale left you with a cold aftertaste, and tell us in the comments. What is scarier, to remain paralyzed in reality forever, or to live a happy life in a digital coma while your body commits evil? Thank you for watching. Remember, next time you entrust a decision to an algorithm, make sure the keys to your life are still in your hands. See you in the next breakdown.